Well, we're in the little Model A and we're gonna take it for a spin. You got to double clutch it because the transmission is not synchronized. But basically, to start it, you turn the key on and there's a button up here you push with your foot. She comes to life. You got a voltmeter and your temperature gauge is that thermometer out there on the hood. Factory equipment. I'm going to do this with one hand. If you go slow and short shift, it won't grind, but otherwise you got to double clutch it. One thing I noticed, the speedometer still works. Yeah, it's kind of like going back in time driving this. It does have hydraulic brakes, and I do have the original mechanical brakes, all the parts that goes with it if somebody wanted to change it back. But the hydraulic system is a lot better. You can hear the probably straight cut gears in the transmission. It's how they were made back in the day. But it goes in all three gears. There's a little grind in there. I didn't quite get the double clutch right. But she'll go down the road probably comfortably at 45, 50 miles an hour. Certainly a neighborhood, local small town vehicle. It's not an interstate hauler. However, there are guys that have driven these from Florida to Alaska. And something else I want to mention, excuse me, I can't find a light switch, and I noticed there's wires that go to the lights. So maybe I'm a dummy, but anyway, I don't think it's got a light switch. It does have the wires going up to the headlight, and the horn works. Kind of a familiar sound. But you can see the paint, which is probably 20 or 25 years old, is cracking in the wear areas, you know, getting in and out. And this was actually started up every day and driven in front of a business called the Bedroom Shop. And they had an American flag and a Texas flag hanging off the front bumper. It had little signs in the stake pockets that didn't have the camper shell on it. Well, they finally closed the business, and I've seen this thing sitting out there for years and years. And anyway, I got it. I've had it about 6 months. Been kind of playing with it. But they used it for parades and to promote their business. It does have 2 spare tires. It's an all-steel car, their truck rather. You can see some scrapes here, probably from driving it in and out of the warehouse. The windshield is cracked. Kind of goes 4 different directions. But I bet a flat windshield's pretty reasonable for one of these. The original fuel tank is here, and they said it kept getting rust into the carburetor. So they put a fuel cell on the back, and that eliminated the problem. You can see some of the paint kind of flaking in various places. The tires hold air. They're pretty old, but they just kind of used it for parades. The camper shell makes it cool, and that is the fuel cell they put in the back. Another problem they had with it, they would take it once a year to the local Arlington 4th of July parade, and the original 4-cylinder engine it just didn't like idling, and it would overheat. So they took it out, had a head gasket put in it, put it together, ran it again, and kind of the same issues. So 20 years ago or so, and I've got the receipts, they pulled the original motor out and put a Ford Pinto 4-cylinder. And I'm told it bolted right up to the manual transmission. They had to machine the clutch some kind of bearing. Maybe the clutch bushing had to be machined. But that's been in there, and it's faithfully started every day to pull it in and out. They said they have replaced the batteries a few times. So it's got a little bit of patina from people getting in and out and pulling it out front. And I always wondered how they did it with that old original motor, but you know, that kind of explains it. And the truck looks really good considering it's about 90 years old. But if you look real close, you'll see paint flaking off. Back here on the fender, there's place. But it's not a rust bucket. Again, it's all steel fenders, and you can actually drive it around. Kind of a neat piece of nostalgia. They've owned this truck for about 40 years, and I've got some old receipts from different repairs they had done. I do have the receipt when they put the engine in. But anyway, if you have any questions, you can give us a call. I'll show you a glimpse of this high horsepower Ford Pinto 4-cylinder. They did change the oil and fuel filters and just kind of maintained it. They did add an electric cooling fan, and after they did that, they said they could go to all the 4th of July parades they want, and she'd sit there and idle all day long. It is a 3-speed unsynchronized transmission, so if you rev it a little bit, you do have to double clutch it. If you short shift, it'll go into gear just real fine with just a little bit of grind. There's some of the original, looks like felt material. But it's kind of a neat piece of history. You can get in it and drive it to Home Depot or local car show and get there pretty reliably. And if you need parts, pretty easy to get. But if you have any questions, check us out. We're going to put this little jewel on Bring a Trailer, and somebody's going to get a cool little pickup with a camper shell on the back. Have a great day. I'm Bronco Bob, wishing you happy trails.